Are you interested in knowing anything about Niger? And do you know it's a landlocked country? The Republic of Niger is one of 195 nations in the globe that is landlocked in West Africa. Landlocked nations lack direct access to any global ocean and are entirely encircled by land. There may be rivers or other waterways within the nation, but all of its external borders are land-based. If you want to plan your next trip to Africa, please visit flightsofafrica.net to grab the best flight deals to Africa. Geography. The country of Niger is located in West Africa, on the boundary between the Sahara and the sub-Saharan regions. The total landmass spans 1,267,000 square miles. The size of Niger is equivalent to that of Angola and the state of Texas in the United States. There are 7 additional countries that the country has borders with Nigeria having the longest border. In addition, it shares borders with the countries of Chad, Algeria, Mali, Burkina Faso, and Benin. Climate. Niger has subtropical climate that is generally hot and dry. The majority of the land is made up of desert and sand dunes. Savannas that range from being flat to rolling can be found in the south. Foreign relations. The foreign policy of Niger is considered to be moderate, and the country maintains cordial relations with the Western world, the Islamic world, and countries that are not connected with any one bloc. It has strong ties with France as well as the countries that border it on the west. The African Union and the West African Monetary Union both count Niger as one of their founding members. It's a member of a number of other regional organizations, including the Organization for the Harmonization of Business Law in Africa and the Organization of Islamic Conference. Transportation. The transportation subsector has benefited from an exemption from tax on industrial and commercial profits, which was included in the reform of the investment code that took place in 2014 with the intention of making it more attractive. The combined length of the principal and secondary roads in the road network is over 20,083 kilometers. Trucks bring all imports to their final destination in Niger once they've passed through the coastal ports where they were transshipped. The robust demand for essential foodstuffs has been a driving force behind the rapid expansion of the volume of imports transported by truck. The Benin-based Cotonou and Niamey railway line is jointly operated by Niger and Benin under the auspices of OCBN, although progress in connecting the two cities has been slow. Niger does not have a fully functional railway system. Even though President Issoufou officially opened the railroad in January 2016 with a ceremonial trip between Dosso and Niamey, the line is still in progress of being set up. Roads are the primary mode of transportation for long-distance travel because of their accessibility. In 1966, only 798 kilometers of the 10,100 kilometers of road were paved. The first paved highway was constructed for the purpose of transporting uranium and is now included in the network of Trans-Sahara highways. The main airport is located in Niamey and is known as the Diori Hamani International Airport. Agadez and the area close to Zinder both have their own airports as well. Economy. Niger is exposed to a significant macroeconomic risk due to the presence of security threats at its borders with Mali, Libya, and Nigeria, as well as continued low commodity prices. Despite the fact that Niger is home to one of the world's greatest uranium resources, the majority of the economy is still based on subsistence agriculture and cattle. The economy has suffered as a result of the rapid population increase, droughts, and a reduction of the demand for uranium. The CFA franc is the currency used in Niger and is also used by 7 other countries that are members of the West African Monetary Union. These nations are all part of the same central banking system. The Organization for the Harmonization of Business Law in Africa is something that Niger is a member of. Agriculture. Internal markets, farming for subsistence, and exporting raw commodities are the 3 pillars on which the agriculture economy of Niger is built. The regions of the country's south center and southwest include the greatest number of people actively engaged in crop production. Because of the unpredictability of the rainfall, the nation is unable to provide enough food for its citizens and must instead rely on international assistance. The drought that lasted from the 1960s all the way through to the 1980s is an example of how long droughts may last. Exports. Uranium is the country's most valuable export good, followed closely by livestock. These numbers do not take into account herds that enter Nigeria illegally through other entry points. In addition, Niger possesses reserves of coal, iron, phosphates, limestone, and gypsum, among other minerals. Mining for gold has also just recently gotten underway. Growth rates. The devaluation of the CFA franc in 1994 was a contributor to the 3.5% annual growth in the economy during the middle of the 1990s. The growth rate of the GDP is currently at 5.7%. Economic restructuring and debt. When the new government took office in the year 2000, the country was experiencing severe economic difficulties. In that particular year, the nation met the requirements to receive debt relief from the IMF. This government desired to make adjustments to the economy in order to move toward the privatization model proposed by the IMF. This included the privatization of water distribution and telecommunications networks. The price controls that had been placed on petroleum products were lifted. There is also a strategy to lessen the effects of poverty and corrupt practices. Both in 2001 and 2003, attempts were made to privatize the electricity company, but they were unsuccessful. In 2009, the telephone system was taken back over by the government. Foreign aid. France, the International Monetary Fund, the European Union, the World Bank, and various agencies of the United Nations are significant donors to Niger. Other countries include Saudi Arabia, the United States of America, Germany, Belgium, Canada, and Switzerland. Demographics. The Zarma Songhai and the Hausa people make up the majority of the population, and the Hausa is also the most populous ethnic group in Nigeria. Both of these communities use sedentary farming. Fulani, Tuareg, Kanuri, Arabs, and Tubu make up the remaining 20% of Nigerians. Together, these five groups make up 80% of the country's population. In recent years, those involved in livestock production and agriculture have begun to engage in conflict over natural resources. Health. There is a high infant mortality rate in Niger, which is comparable to the rates in other nations of the region. There are 86 deaths of infants for every 1,000 live births. This is referred to as the infant mortality rate. Despite this, the nation has the highest fertility rate in the world, with 6.89 births occurring for every woman. There are more people under the age of 15 than any other age group. Education. Students are required to attend school for a total of 6 years. Attendance rates are low overall, but especially for young women. Girls typically drop out of school only after a few years of enrollment. Youngsters in nomadic groups are not given the opportunity to receive an education, and in many cases, children are obliged to work instead of attending school. Traditions and spirituality. The culture of Niger is quite diverse. Under French control, the region that later became known as Niger was comprised of 4 separate cultural zones. Traditions specific to each community were brought into the country by those communities. Despite the efforts of the government, it has been challenging to develop a sense of national identity. Until the 1990s, Niamey and the Zarma held the majority of political power. Because their cultures were so similar, people in other regions looked to other countries for guidance. Religion. From North America, Islam expanded over the world in the 10th century, and now more than 90% of the population identifies as Muslim. There are some minor Christian groups and animist communities as well. Most Muslims are Sunni and Sufi. Shias make up only 5% of the population. Niger is known for its long history as a secular state and its harmonious relationship with people of many faiths. In Niger, only a small fraction of the population adheres to indigenous religious practices. Animist celebrations are held in certain parts of the world. What do you think of our video? Let me know in the comment section below. If you enjoyed this video and want to hear from me again, be sure to hit that subscribe button before you go. Thanks for watching.